Oh, childhood, that magical time of scraped knees, summer bike rides, and summoning ancient evil from beneath a cursed tree. In tonight's tale, a group of pint-sized grave disturbers awaken a lonely little ghoul who's been waiting to play for decades. It's a story of rejection, resurrection, and rotting friendships. So gather round, my moldy little miscreants. This one's dying to make some new friends. I call it She Sleeps Below.
Sam Whitlock always knew something was wrong with the tree, even before the slab was lifted, before the voices started, before the others began to disappear, even before Jasper Hell carved that thing into the bark and whispered, "She dreams of us." The tree sat at the back edge of the old park, where the grass turned to dirt and the kudzu crept up around rusted swing sets. It was massive, black-barked and twisted, with roots that swelled from the ground like thick cords. At its base, a flat, heavy stone, half swallowed by soil and time. No engraving, just a slab, cold and anchored. They called it the Witch's Rock. The adults ignored it. The kids, they dared each other to lift it. Sam didn't come to the tree to play. Not really. He came because that's where the others were. Casey Doyle and Becca Stillwell and little Lucy Granger, always trying to climb or swing or dig around its roots. Even Jasper, the weird one, the one who said the tree talked in its sleep. He came. They all buzzed around it like flies to a wound. Sam mostly sat near the edge, Walkman headphones on, listening to his brother's tapes. His brother had been dead for 2 years now. Illness, they said, sudden and cruel. Sam had stopped asking for details. The tapes were what remained, crackly mixdowns of classic rock, his brother's jokes muttered into the mic, once even a mock newscast. Ashford Hollow, 1986. Local kids report tree and park is totally haunted. Mayor denies all. Cotton scandal involving haunted goats. Sam used to laugh at that, but nowadays, the jokes just made his heart sink. "Yo, Whitlock, you gonna help or just sit there like a corpse?" Casey called from the roots, where he and Lucy were trying to wedge a stick between the slab. Becca frowned. "Maybe leave it alone, yeah? It's not just a rock. It's heavy for a reason." Casey rolled his eyes. "You scared of dirt? Come on." Jasper was sketching in his notebook again. He didn't look up when he said, "You shouldn't touch it. She's sleeping." Casey turned. "Who's she?" Jasper pointed to the tree. "Elsie." Lucy blinked. "Who's Elsie?" Jasper's pencil moved without pause. "She lives in the tree. She was put there." No one responded for a moment. The wind shifted slightly. Becca looked at Sam. "Didn't your grandpa live here back then? Like a long time ago? You ever talk about the Witch's Rock?" Sam pulled off one earphone. "Only once. Said it was a grave. Then he told me to never ask again." "Creepy," Casey said, grin wide. "So if we lift it, what? Zombie party?" "No," Jasper said quietly. "She'll wake up, and she's lonely." They didn't lift the slab that day, not fully. But 2 days later, when the sun boiled the park and the grown-ups were all at work and the woods hummed like something breathing, they did. It took all of them, even Sam reluctantly, his hand wrapped around the rusted end of a crowbar Casey had stolen from his dad's shed. They heaved. The slab cracked, and underneath wasn't dirt. It was black wood planks, carved with symbols too old to name. Some were scorched. One had a strange symbol that seemed to twitch when the light hit it. Another was a child's name, faint but legible. Elsie Harper, 1963. The tree groaned above them, a low, woody creak that made Becca step back. Lucy's mouth parted. Did it sigh? And somewhere far off, a wind blew through dead leaves. They left the slab half off, unsure what they'd done, and over the next few days, Jasper changed. He stopped drawing. He stopped coming around. Then he stopped being there at all. Jasper Hell was gone. At first, nobody made a fuss. His mom said he was with his dad in Tulsa for the weekend. Then she said he'd been staying with his aunt. Then she stopped answering the door altogether. It had to have been denial crashing into a rut realization. Sam biked past Jasper's house about a week after the slab incident. The yard was still full of toys, but none of them had moved. The windows were all dark, even in the middle of the day, and someone had drawn on the inside of the glass the same strange symbol like the one under the slab. The tree was starting to change as well. Sam noticed more details now, like how one of the roots had cracked a nearby sidewalk and was still growing, and how the bark of the tree had started peeling, almost forming a grin. No one mentioned the slab again, but no one put it back either. Maybe he ran away, Casey said, chewing the cap of his soda bottle. Weird kids do that. Becca looked annoyed. He was 11, Casey. Where would he go? Sam said nothing. They were sitting near the base of the tree again. Lucy was humming to herself, skipping around the trunk. Every now and then she paused and tilted her head, like she was listening for something. Sam caught her whispering once, something like, "You're funny," followed by a giggle. She didn't used to do that. "You think it's haunted?" Becca finally asked Sam when Casey went to chase Lucy. Her voice was lower now, like asking the question out loud might invite something. "I don't think it's haunted," Sam said. "I think it's awake." That night, Sam couldn't sleep. He lay in bed, clutching his Walkman like a talisman, his brother's voice hissing faintly through the foam headphones. "If you're hearing this, you're either me or you're digging through my junk. If it's Sam, hey buddy, stop stealing my tapes or I'll haunt you." The words used to make him smile. Tonight, they made him clutch his blanket a little tighter. In the silence between tracks, he thought he heard whispering, high, childish laughter, a voice like wind rustling through teeth. When he rewound the tape, the laughter was gone. Casey disappeared next, vanished from his bedroom overnight. His parents were a mess, but the town treated it like a freak accident, just like with Jasper. Flyers went up. A curfew was suggested. The slab remained untouched. Sam knew better. When he and Becca went to the tree that afternoon, the wind was howling all around them. The air was heavy and thick, and on the bark, carved newly deep, were Jasper and Casey's names. "Did you do that?" Becca whispered. "No, I think we should tell someone." "Tell them what?" Sam knelt by the roots. Something glittered in the dirt. A bike reflector, Casey's, smeared with sap, or maybe blood. They didn't speak on the way home. That night, Lucy Granger stood outside Sam's window. He lived on the second floor. When he looked down, he saw her swaying under the tree like a marionette, her eyes half-lidded, face blank. She was barefoot, her nightgown muddy. Her lips were moving, but he couldn't see what she said until the tape in his Walkman hissed and worked, and then Lucy's voice whispered through his headphones. "She just wanted someone to stay." He scrambled into bed, yanking the blankets over his head, a desperate attempt to banish the image from his mind. He knew deep down he wasn't seeing things, and that was not Lucy. They found Lucy in the morning at the base of the tree, asleep, but she wouldn't wake up. Her pulse was slow but steady. She breathed, but her eyes never opened. Her fingers clutched a wooden doll that no one had seen before. It looked handmade, crude, smiling, with that symbol on its chest. Lucy's parents took her to the hospital. She remained in a coma. Sam knew it was more. A piece of her had been taken. They started with the town records. Becca had a cousin who worked at the Ashford Hollow library and owed her a favor. After some convincing and an exaggerated report on the missing kids for a school project, they got access to the old archives and dusty boxes from the town's storage basement. At first it was all Rotary Club nonsense and farming contests. Then they found the Ashford Elementary photo, dated 1963. First row, third from the left, a girl in a homespun dress, pale, barefoot, clutching a stuffed rabbit. Everyone else was smiling, but she looked like she was being dragged into hell. Elspeth Elsie Harper, age 12. Becca read aloud from a yellowed newspaper clipping, the edges brittle with age. Ashford girl blamed for strange phenomena. Reports from the outskirts of Ashford Hollow continue to stir fear among locals, with several incidents involving local children. Some found wandering in trances in the woods, waking with dirt under their fingernails. And in at least 3 cases, children had received their recently deceased pets back alive and well, just days after burial. While town officials offer no formal explanation or investigation, Reverend Mallory Harper of Ashford Chapel has come forward, claiming his 12-year-old daughter, Elsie Harper, may be responsible. "She speaks of voices that are not there. She knows things no child should know," the Reverend stated in Sunday's sermon. "The Lord tests us in strange ways, but this feels like a curse upon our house." He ended his sermon with a warning: "Before we lose more children, we must cleanse what darkness has taken root." When asked whether he believed Elsie posed a danger, Reverend Harper paused before answering. "I love my daughter, but I fear for her soul and ours. I urge that we all must act before wrath is brought down upon us all." Becca looked at Sam. Her father turned her in? Sam stared at the article. She didn't even make it to high school. There was no obituary, no mention of what happened next, but they both knew where she had gone. They biked to the edge of town, to the tree that no one was visiting anymore. Not since Lucy. Even the younger kids had stopped going near it. It stood there in the dirt lot like a parasite no one could name, just waiting. The slab had gone darker, moss and soil crusted around its edge. The symbol under it pulsed faintly. It almost looked like a door. "You think she's down there?" Becca asked, voice shaking. Sam didn't answer. He opened his backpack and pulled out his cassette player with one of the last tapes his brother had made before getting sick. It was labeled For Bad Nights. He pressed play. His brother's voice whispered, "You're not alone. Even if it feels like it. Close your eyes. Hear me laughing? That's how you know it's still me." Sam let the words play as he knelt beside the slab. "She was just a kid," he said, "like us, and they killed her. Sam, they buried her under this tree, put a seal over her like she was a demon. She might be." He paused, or maybe she was just hurt, and now she's hurting everyone back. Becca touched his arm. "What do we do?" Sam stared down at the slab, then the bike reflector, then the wooden doll they found near Lucy. We finished the story. They returned the next night. The wind screamed, the stone slab and the wooden planks were gone. "Sam," Becca whispered, peering over his shoulder at the dark opening. Sam peering into the hole. "My name is Sam Whitlock. I don't know what you are, but I think you're still listening. You're not alone. Not anymore." Becca choked. "We're sorry about what happened to you. We're just trying to understand." "Stay here," Sam said quietly, but she clutched his arm. "No, I'm coming too. We don't split up, remember?" But something was already changing in the air. The wind stilled. The night crickets went silent. Becca hesitated, then moved to follow him, but the ground pulsed. A cold breath of air pushed her back. Her eyes rolled slightly, just for a moment, and she crumpled to her knees, breathing but unconscious. "Becca!" Sam knelt beside her, but her body was limp. Something had taken her gently, peacefully, and set her aside. A soft voice echoed from below the roots, not menacing, but sad. "She's not who I want." Sam turned toward the darkness, and he understood. He slipped into the hollow alone. He was beneath the tree, under the twisted roots that formed the walls like veins gripped into the earth. He wasn't underground, not really. The world around him looked faded, dusty, like a dream half remembered. The tree's roots arched above his head, forming a natural ceiling, and a pale blue light filtered through the cracks. This was her room. A girl sat in the center, still barefoot, same homespun dress. Her dark hair matted to her face like cobwebs. Her eyes milky, weeping sap. Her hands were folded in her lap, and around her were toys. Not modern, but old wooden dolls with button eyes and hand-stitched clothes. And near her, Jasper's sketchbook, Lucy's pink jacket, Casey's cracked glasses. She looked up. "Are you my friend now?" Sam didn't run, didn't scream. He couldn't. His legs were locked in place. Not by magic, but by something deeper, recognition. This was Elsie. "Are you sad too?" she asked softly, tilting her head. Sam opened his mouth, but no words came. His throat ached. "I know you are," she said. "I hear it when you walk home alone. You talk to someone who's not there." She stood slowly, brushing dirt from her dress. "Is it your brother?" His eyes burned. "How do you know that?" "I listen," she said. "That's what they hated. Said it was wrong, said I wasn't normal, but I just heard things others didn't. Like voices, trees, animals, thoughts." She stepped closer, not threatening, just curious, sad. Suddenly, Sam's Walkman crackled. His brother's voice emerged again, unbidden. "Even when it hurts, don't become what they made you." Elsie turned, her lip trembling. "They made me a monster," she whispered, "but I didn't want to be one. I just wanted—" She trailed off, gesturing weakly to some dolls and some miscellaneous toys, to the faded jackets. "A friend." Sam looked down. "You're just a kid. You wanted friends, so you took them. I didn't take them. Not like that." She looked ashamed. "I asked. They said yes. They said they'd stay, but then they faded. They always fade." Her hands curled, her voice cracked. "I don't want them to fade anymore." He could hear them now, whispers, faint giggles like wind through tall grass. Other children, unseen but close, not tortured, not screaming, just not whole anymore. Like echoes. "They don't last," Elsie said, touching her chest, "because they didn't understand. They just wanted out, but not you. You understand." Sam's throat closed up. He did understand. That hollow feeling, that empty kitchen at dinner, that silence in the hallway where his brother's door used to creak open. The tapes. the cold house, the way the world forgot about you when no one looked for you anymore. You don't have to. I won't make you. She picked up her stuffed rabbit, gently ran her fingers over it. But I don't want to be alone again. Not for another 20 years. For a long time, neither of them spoke. Then he whispered, "Will it hurt?" She shook her head. "No, you just fall asleep and you dream, but this time you won't wake up alone." Tears welled in his eyes, but he didn't wipe them away. He reached into his hoodie pocket and pulled out the small cassette player, the one that clicked every few minutes, that warbled when it rewound, that still held his brother's voice. He placed it in front of her. "What's that?" she asked. "A story," Sam said. "You can listen to it while I sleep." Elsie smiled, small, honest, and when Sam lay back, resting his head on the cold dirt under the old tree, he felt something he hadn't in years: peace. Becca awoke at the base of the tree, confused, her head resting on cold roots. The sky was gray. The tree's limbs stretched like skeletal fingers, motionless in the dead air above her. "Sam?" she called, her voice cracking, but there was no answer. The slab had been sealed again, smooth, untouched, as if it had never been lifted. But for some reason she remembered voices. She remembered Sam's face, lit with a strange kind of peace for the first time. She remembered Elsie he had chosen, and in that sacrifice, the curse was broken. And Becca, heart heavy and tears streaking down her cheeks, saw the two new names etched into the tree. Lucy woke from her coma that same morning. She never told anyone what she saw or what she remembered, not fully. Jasper and Casey were never found, but the tree never took anyone again. And at the very edge of Ashford Hollow, if you listen on a windless night, you might hear voices under the earth, not crying, not screaming, just talking like old friends in a story that never ends.
Now that's what I call a B-side. A little lullaby from the land of the living to the dearly depraved. Sam gave up everything, and Elsie finally found a friend, even if it meant staying buried in the past. So next time you're feeling rooted in sadness, just remember, some trees don't want to let go, and some kids make grave decisions. Pleasant screams, kitties.
Tales from the Crypt.